Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's installation of the Community Q&A webinar. If you're tuning in, you're tuning into a webinar hosted by the Healy and AMG Center based in Boston, Massachusetts. We've put this slide up just to give people a few moments to filter in from the waiting room. And while you're here, you'll see that there's a QR code on the screen. If you want to sign up for our email broadcast system, it's called the ALS link. We send out news and notifications about these webinars and other opportunities and news articles related to ALS research out of the Healy Center. So you can go ahead and sign up there if you want to stay in touch. This week's webinar, we're going to be covering a discussion about the last 5 years of the HEALEY ALS Platform Trial, and we'll have Dr. Paganoni present some information for you. So now that everyone, I think, has filtered in from the waiting room, we can get started and head to the next slide.
Thank you so much, Catherine, and thank you everyone for attending. It's hard to believe that it's been 5 years of platform trial work and fantastic participation from the entire ALS community. So thank you so much for the milestone and for everything that has gone into this study so far. We're really happy to be present at over 70 sites of the NILS Consortium in the US. So far, we have tested 7 drugs, and you see some numbers and metrics on the screen here. But the study has involved over 1,300 participants. So we truly appreciate everyone's efforts and really coming together to make progress faster. In fact, before the platform trial, it would take much longer to test these drugs, and now we can have more drugs tested in a rapid time frame. So today, again, I just want to kind of share a couple of thoughts about the last 5 years and where we're headed next. Next slide. So far, as I said earlier, we tested 7 drugs. They are listed on the slide. The goal of the trial is to screen drugs rapidly and efficiently to see which drugs should move forward to phase 3 testing. Of the first 7 drugs, 2 are moving forward to phase 3, specifically CNMAU8 and pridopidine, as you can see on the slide. If you would like to learn more about the mechanism of action of these drugs, we have a series of webinars about their mechanism of action and why we studied them in the trial and also what the results are. We also published results from the first 5 in different journals, all available online. So if you want to read all the details, obviously that's available. But to summarize, the reason we are testing different mechanisms of action is because we do not know which one is the main driver of ALS pathology. And so by testing different mechanisms of action, we can cast a wide net. And again, so far, the first 7 drugs, 2 are moving forward to phase 3, which is important because our goal is to accelerate the process to get to new treatments. And that's what the trial is doing right now. Next slide. And so the other thing that we can do in the context of this trial is also to learn from our own experience. Catherine, can you take this one?
Yes, so it's cold season here in New England, so I'm gonna jump in as Dr. Paganoni needs. But one of the nice things about what we're doing with the HEALEY ALS platform trial is that we're adapting and learning. So there's been 5 years of learning, 5 years of data collection. And now that we have that insight, we're able to adapt the trial to make it better moving forward, to make it more patient-centric moving forward, and make it more powerful. And so some of the adaptations that have come into place from these past 5 years of learning, there is a new master protocol called version 6. It's available in PDF form on our website if anyone wants to take a look. But these are some of the key things to pull from those updates. So moving forward with the platform trial, the study duration is going to be about 9 months or 36 weeks to be exact, for the randomized controlled trial period. That randomized controlled trial period is where there's that chance of being on placebo. And then afterwards, there's the ATE, the active treatment extension, where there is no chance of being on placebo. So everyone would be on active drug at that point. In terms of the inclusion criteria for the trial, moving forward, it will be 2 years, so 24 months since weakness symptom onset. The visit schedule has been adapted. Again, we have a lot of input from patient advisory committees, so shout out to all of our patient advisors who help with these decisions about adaptations. But the visit schedule is going to be more patient-centric because there will be increased remote visits, and some more flexibility to make it a bit easier logistically to participate. And then in terms of moving science forward even further, so looking at biomarkers, part of the powerful aspects of doing this type of research is that the trial in and of itself, beyond just testing the potential efficacy of these drugs, is looking at exploratory biomarkers. So moving forward, looking at biomarkers, PBMCs, looking at different cells derived from stem cells to do, again, further advancement in testing and ALS research. And so again, so for new regimens coming up, these will be the new criteria that we're operating under. We can go to the next slide. Dr. Paganoni, I don't
And
know if you want
thank
to
you,
take this
Catherine. I
one.
mean, you're so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we've been together on this series for a long time, and I had to say you're much better than me at explaining the trial. So thank you for that. So another exciting aspect of the trial is that we have been able to contribute to science in general, therefore contributing beyond the walls of the trial itself. Because we've completed the testing of the first 5 drugs, we've been able to, what we say, retire, which means we're no longer using data and samples from the first 5 regimens. And that means that we can share them with the research community. And that's what you can see on the slide. And the QR code will take you to, more information about how these samples and data that are being retired, can contribute to science beyond the trial itself. And we have a fantastic webinar that Catherine organized a few weeks ago with other members of our team, with our patient advisors. We're really grateful to our patient advisors who have been meeting with us on a regular basis since even before we launched the trial, and they explained during the webinar what the impact of these donation is. And so I'm sure Catherine will post the link to their webinar. I would highly recommend that. We're incredibly grateful to the people who came and shared their own experience from the patient perspective, what this type of science, open science, and data and sample sharing means. Next slide. Next. And the other thing that I would like to share is that we continue to learn not only about the science, but also about how to best plan clinical trials. We're sharing our operational experience, and I wonder, Catherine, if you could explain our project of creating research summaries. So as we continue to publish all this experience, great feedback we got from our patient advisors is that these papers, well, nice and available open access, are actually very hard to digest. And so they asked us to begin creating research summaries that explain in plain language why all of this is important. And so we started with the paper that you can see published in Muscle and Nerve, the operational paper. So Catherine, can you share more about that and where we can find more resources?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did put in the chat. So the Platform Trial News and Webinars webpage is where you can find all of our previous webinar recordings. We put at the very bottom of the page, there's a menu you can expand to see all of the scientific publications about the platform trial. I think we have about 10 publications at this point. So if you want to read the actual scientific article, you can absolutely do that. Most of them, if not all right now, are available open access, meaning you don't have to pay fees. There's no red tape. You can just click and read. They are pretty jargon heavy. So, and I'm, as someone who works in research, I still think they're pretty jargony. So there are, more opportunities for us as researchers to communicate clearly. One of those things that we're trying to do is by developing these kind of plain language summaries for a lay audience, where it doesn't matter what level of scientific understanding, you can understand these materials and learn the same lessons. So I'll put a link to view the 2-page kind of plain language summary for the operations paper, but all of these resources are available and you can kind of pick what suits your flavor of learning.
And we will continue to generate new research summaries. And again, I want to thank our patient advisors who recommended that. Next slide. And many of our colleagues can partner with us. So if you are or an investigator and would like to connect with us, please let us know. Next slide. And we partner with different companies. If you know of any company that may be interested in applying to participate in the platform trial, we definitely are open to new regimens. We're about to start new regimens in early 2026, but definitely we're also looking beyond that. So happy to connect with any companies that might be interested. Next slide. And these are our emails. You can always contact us by email or come and join this webinar. Next slide. So this is the most important slide. I really want to thank you for 5 years of continuing to make progress in ALS. And again, we continue to share the learnings by way of the publications and the research summaries and the webinars. And we will continue to be on this webinar series also over the next few weeks to the end of the year, and then also in 2026. And I think, Catherine, you have a slide next with some information about our next webinars and what we're planning for 2026.
Yes, so you can't get rid of us that easily. We've been doing these webinars for 5 years. We did drop the cadence to 2 times per month, and we'll keep that cadence moving forward into 2026, but we'll be here if you want us to be here. And so you can always reach out to me as the patient navigator for the platform trial. My phone number and email are on the screen there. You can register in advance for these webinars. We've got 2 more webinars for 2025. So December 11th, EAP discussion. December 18th, we'll do another platform trial discussion. And then we got some good stuff already planned for 2026. So starting out with an EAP webinar, and then the following one on January 22nd, I will be discussing research access and how to navigate the clinical trial landscape. February 12th, we'll have Dr. James Berry and some representatives from Rappa Therapeutics provide an update about the Rappa 501 EAP. So good things coming ahead. You can register ahead of time. Over the past 5 years, when we paused and looked at the metrics, we've been talking about research for a long time, and we're so glad to have the opportunity to do that. We're so glad you've been along for the ride. We've hosted 205 webinars to date, in about 10 minutes, I'll say 206 webinars. There's about 72 people who attend these in person, virtually, in real time, and then we get lots of views on YouTube afterwards. So, more than 70,000 views on these videos in the past 5 years. We've answered almost 300 questions live during these webinars. So it's just a privilege to be able to be here as the people helping to run this research, to have that opportunity to actually sit down and talk with the community about these things that, are hot topic questions. So big ol' thank you for driving these conversations. Happy Thanksgiving, and shout out to our administrative assistant, Mimi, who has been wonderful. She's often behind the scenes here, but we made her, twisted her arm, put her up on the screen there. So that's Mimi, everybody. And she's our fabulous assistant who helps to make sure that these recordings happen and are posted online for you. And with that, I think we can stop sharing screens and maybe see if we get up to 3,000 questions answered after tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I see great messages in the chat. Thank you so much for offering to review our research summaries. We'll definitely take you up on that. I think if you can take down the name, and I think we connect in some of the patient advisory committees, so we can definitely use your help. So thank you so much for offering. We really get the best ideas from attendees in this webinar or members of our patient advisory committees. So in terms of the drugs that were tested, so I mentioned that there's 2 drugs, one made by Clean and one by Prelenia. Again, we had study results that support additional testing and additional steps. So again, I think those will be announced in over the next few months, but I do expect more activities, more trials, more news. And again, the goal of the trial is to screen drugs and move them to the next phase of testing faster than if they had to do the testing individually. There's a great question about subtypes and personalized medicine or biomarkers. And so the person who's asking is saying something very important, that there may be a need to develop personalized medicine approaches because people with ALS can have different profiles. Absolutely. That's very important. That's what we're all trying to do. In fact, A lot of the biosamples and data that were retired and donated to the medical community from the platform trial are going to studies to support studies that are trying to identify the right way to subgroup people. We're not quite there yet, but I will say that the thousands of data points and the thousands of samples that were generated in the first few regimens of the platform trial that are now being used for this kind of personalized medicine research are definitely going to help. I do want to put in a plug for My Match, our other trial, separate from the platform trial. I don't know, Catherine, if you have some links handy to post in the chat, but because matching the right patient to the right drug is so important, we also have a smaller trial that's trying to do that called My Match. And that's also another way to tackle this from a different perspective. There's a I hope that helps answer your question, but it's definitely an important question. In terms of the predopidine EAP, there is a participant who says I'm on the predopidine EAP. How about the phase 3 results? Well, the phase 3 study is expected to start in 2026. So it's going to take some more time to have the results of that. But certainly the phase 3 study is about to launch. So we're very excited about that. Catherine, any questions you may have received or any other comments?
I was just going to share a general tip that for, while there are drugs and companies that we're working with actively in the HEALEY ALS platform trial, we're a great source of, direct updates about those. When it comes to the afterwards, when they graduate after, I often direct people to go directly to those drug companies' websites, and they usually have a section for contact information, and you can email those drug companies directly to get updates about where their drug is and in the pipeline or asking about when will their phase 3 launch or when will they know about it. So just letting you know you can directly reach out to the drug companies to learn more.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you again. When is the next webinar here?
Making sure I'm paying attention. December 11th will be
Okay.
our EAP webinar.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.